is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I represent Bahamian people. I from Nassau, Bahamas, big up Baytown, bro. Boy, I from Baytown, bro. Right between West and Augusta, where them two roads meet, they call it Wilkinson Street. Manners and respect was like a sign blank check. It seems the ones that come in after quick to disrespect. You see, this life in the ghetto never easy. So many hungry days break till it grieve me. But I doing the best I can, trying to turn my dollar to 100 grand. I represent the ghetto people. I from Nassau, Bahamas, big up Baytown, bro. Boy, I from Baytown, bro. Don't take no back talk, no bribe or no joke.
Good night, Bahamas, and welcome to Inside the Inner City that premieres every Friday at 6:30 p.m. I am your host, Valentino, host of the talk show Inside the Inner City. On today's show, we're going to have a wonderful, wonderful conversation today. Our telephone numbers tonight are 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, and you can text us, powered by BTC, at 422-GR96. We're also on Cable Bahamas. And again, it's a wonderful Friday. It's raining a lot. I don't have to tell you, drive with care and caution because the roads are really full with water. So just drive as slow and safe as possible. There are a lot of potholes. You could damage your tires and etc. So drive with care and caution. Get home safely. And tonight, many of you would be in the nightclub or going to the restaurant or going to fish fry. I know it's rainy, but you still can have a little bit of quiet fun tonight. You could stay at home and eat at home. So, yeah. I want to thank each and every one of you who listen to Inside the Inner City and who commend the show. I'm very humbled to hear so many people in tune with the show. I didn't know it was going to turn out to be such a wonderful show, educational show. I'm glad that I'm doing a wonderful job, but I'm not all talk. Many of the stuff that I'm talking about, I've had experience in. Many of the community development that you see happening in the country, that is ongoing process to better the conditions of my community in the country. Many of the programs and solutions that we give on this area actually is a part of some of the government mandate that are been happening in the last 20, 25 years in the country. So I'm glad to be a part of change, and I'm glad to be your host. And today, we're going to talk about a number of topics. We're going to talk about night guards guilty of sexual assault. We'd also comment on the Commissioner of Police, Clayton Fernando, in saying that night guard is where he's supposed to be. He's actually referring that, people are saying, why night guard wasn't over here and persecuted for many of the sexual assault charges brought against many of the female Bahamian women living in the country who filed complaint many, many years ago to the Royal Bahamas Police Force. But up to this date, these files and complaints, have gone sketchy. But we're hearing the commissioner now that Peter Nygaard has been convicted in his hometown of Canada. We are hearing now the commissioner of police saying now he's looking into these matters. We want to talk about this stuff because we want the general public and those powers to be that we as citizens, we have catch on to all of this. We know that people in high places can buy their way out of criminal charges or complaints, allegedly, based on all of this talk about Peter Nygaard, and now he get convicted in his hometown, and then he was here in the Bahamas, and we had so many complaints filed against Mr. Nygaard. And when we look at it, not one charge was brought against him besides the charge, when he vacuumed the sand off Jaws Beach, illegally built out on extension on Night Guard's key. And, he was fined, but he still did not apply by the court ruling, and then, it was a bunch of nine yards what he got away with as a resident who I think had Bahamian citizenship. I'm not too sure, but I think that he had Bahamian citizenship based on his lavish donations to allegedly to political parties. And we hear in response where one party suggested that both parties were in cahoots, and that's the Honorable Prime Minister Brave Davis. And he was stating that, both parties wasn't in cahoots. Mr. Nygaard, probably when all of these assault charges were brought against many different people over the 25, 30 years that he was here. But in between governments, no charges were brought. So we're talking about PLP and both F&M. But I could remember sometime back when the Honorable Hubert Alexander Ingram advised his cabinet ministers and government officials to stay away from Mr. Nygaard. And then we had a circulation of former MPs and now prime ministers of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, engaging Mr. Peter Nygaard, which, we can't say by the film something was done illegally, but, they were all in cahoots. So some of this can be very true. So we want to have a discussion about that. And then we want to talk a little bit of Agent Gibson, first time MP. How could he be so corrupt, at such an early age and just got into politics? So we want to discuss that, okay? And then we're going to talk about last police. I seen the newspaper and Nassau Guardian where the police statistics says murder is down 16%. And I want to give my input on reasons why it could be down 16%, and then how can we sustain it being 16% over the course of what I call a grace period. And I'm going to explain when I talk about grace period. Okay, so yes, it's a pleasure to be your host again. And yeah, we have a wonderful conversation. Okay, I'm going to first start off tonight saying my sponsor tonight for the show is Drifters Restaurant and Bar, which is situated on Fish Fry, Awaki. Drifters is owned by Mr. Cotto. It's a wonderful, wonderful fish fry restaurant that has Bahamian authentic food. We're talking crab conch, fried fish. We do stews. We do some of the best crock chicken. Conch salad, Bahamian dialect, delicious. Bahamian authentic food. So if you're looking like tonight to really go to enjoy yourself, stop by Drifters Restaurant and Bar. Cotto is one of the nicest places you can meet, and the hospitality at Drifters is very, very awesome. I want to give a shout out to Kendra. She is one of the longest serving employees at Drifters, and she does a wonderful job. So look out for Kendra. And sometimes Drifters give you some little discounts and stuff. So please stop by. And also like to give a shout out to my good friend Scrubber. He owns Joey's Restaurant and Bar. It's the beginning of Fish Fry on the corner. And he has a wonderful restaurant, a nice staff. And if you're looking for some delicious food, just like Drifters, please stop by and enjoy yourself. Bahamian, delicious food. Okay, now we're going to begin the show. Okay, I'm going to start off with what's going on in the country, in the news. And when it relates to our political system, we are seeing now where for over the last 20, 25 years, we wanted our political system. We're talking about MPs, PLP and F&M, once they are elected as government officials, to be accountable. And many of the things we wanted to do was to make sure that we have bills and regulation in place and protocol to make sure that we can see exactly what a politician earns a year, how he's earning it, to make sure that he don't use his position as a politician to enrich himself, which we know it happens in both government. Everyone goes into politics to make money. Some might have a heart to do good, but at the end of the day, you're not going to leave your job, what is paying you close to $1 million to go into politics when only could pay you probably roughly $130,000 as a sitting cabinet. So that don't compute in the eyes of the general public. It does not compute. You're not going to leave a job where you have your own business making $1 million, then go into politics when, there's a certain salary base where, I think the MP gets about $35,000 or $67,000 a year, with him being a member of parliament and being a permanent secretary or something like that. Yeah. So we all know that. So regulation, they put a bill in place where MPs at a certain time have to submit their earnings, and so far at the beginning of the year of this year, and it's against the law if they do not disclose, and many will have not disclosed so far, and yet they have not been brought up on charges. So we all know that politicians are exempted to a certain extent from the law because they themselves they write laws and write regulation and policies, so they themselves are police at the highest order. Okay, just keep that in mind. So yes. So here we have Mr. Adrian Gibson. I don't know how long he's been in politics, but I know it wasn't very long. I don't know the young man. I think that we did some research. His name circulated many years. I think he was an artist or something. But anyway, the name Gibson is the big political name. It runs in both parties, just that some family members may be F and PLP, but it's all the same. So anyway, we have a sitting then member of parliament who, according to what's going on around the airwaves and the news, who are being brought on some, 50-something, 60-something charges of corruption, with him being the minister responsible for water and sewage. And in there you're seeing where all kind of incriminating evidence is being circulating, and it ain't looking so good. And you can see where some contracts were given to family members and etc. And the question needs to be asked, is Mr. Adrian Gibson guilty or innocent? Well, let's just say it's two of those. He's innocent and he's guilty. And this is just my opinion. I'm just going to give my facts, and then, we can go from there and have a conversation. Why would I want to say something like that? First of all, he just came into politics. He came in with a party motto. He won on the ticket of the administration, and he was elected and selected to be responsible for the Ministry of Waterworks. Given that opportunity to have such a responsible position, he used his position. He's used position of power according to what's circulating, and some cases overpriced, some cases gave to his family members, some cases used the people's taxpayers, me and you taxpayers, to start his own personal business. Some of the stuff is being confiscated by the government. And it gives one to think, if you're a citizen sitting down in the streets, and you'd see where no one from the party is saying that he is wrong, from the Free National Movement. This is not a shot at the Free National Movement organization. It's the fact. No one is saying that, he's wrong for what he did. Reason why? Because this goes on when any of these governments get elected, they have their family members who they got to look out for. You understand? So whilst they have the power, they know they have 5 years. So what they're saying, they're going to do some favors so they can get the family strong, family and friends. And that's a part of politics. It isn't just Adrian Gibson. It'd be foolish, just to point a finger at Mr. Gibson. Mr. Gibson just reaching politics. This has been going on for the last 40, 50 years in the country, where contracts have been awarded to many family members who overcharge the government. We have seen in the case where, I think it was, whose case it was, who got, case got thrown out because of technicality, where we had the lady, and she said that she didn't want to testify, but she also said that she was asked to give a percentage back to a certain minister, who his ministry gave her the contract. And in return, she was given this contract, she was supposed to give something back on a monthly basis so the minister could get his cut. You understand? And we were seeing other cases that before the court, like Shane Gibson, where he won his case on technicality. That don't mean they are innocent, Not because you get acquitted from court means you're innocent, You can win your case by technicality means that something happened that wasn't supposed to happen. Like, for instance, you remember when the late great Dr. Bernard ordered speak on a particular matter concerning a case, I think it was Marco Archer, and then the defense of the accused used the statement made by the Minister of National Security, the 18th to get a new case, a new trial. You understand? And then in a particular matter, I can't remember if it's Shane Gibson or Frank Smith case, I think, well, we had an experienced officer from the Royal Bahamas Police Force, a female officer, who was the leading investigator, where she admitted that she broke protocol and she was out of line as an investigator. And this in turn was used by the accused defense attorney. And because of that, a sitting MP won because of technicality. Okay? I also remember my friend Samuel Mushi McKenzie. He is now deceased. He had a case concerning a young lady, Roxbury, who he killed in the Chippenham area. The DNA was sent. This when the forensic came out first time, and they found some blood spatter inside the roof of the car because he, was alleged that he lit the car afire. But in the car, in the Bluebird, there still was some blood stains. So they sent the DNA sample off to Florida. On returning in, the case is still going on. This took about a year or two, I think about a year. When it was returning, I listened to the newspaper. I listened to the news and listened to the newspaper exactly what the judge who was presiding over this particular matter, when the DNA sample returned, it was lost by the Criminal Investigation Department. And it came from Florida, but now the evidence needed to convict Samuel Mushi McKenzie was now missing. And I heard the judge said that because of the blunderings of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, a guilty man is going to walk out of court a free man. So it doesn't mean because you win your case that you're innocent. And many of the cases that I've seen with those MPs listening to the case, I can tell you flat out, many of them were guilty. They were guilty of using their position as a PLP MP, as a Free National Movement MP. So, okay, General Manager, good night. To use that leverage to gain funds. Okay? And that's all across the board. But no one is coming out and saying it. They're just presenting the case as it comes with these MPs. So, yes. So now Mr. Gibson, first time, I don't know if it's first time serving as MP. How could he be so experienced to know how to do all these backdoor cuts with these contracts? How do we know how to give a contract to who price the contract, overprice it, because most contracts is be overpriced. If you listen to the Water and Sewage Corporation case that is going on, we just had one of the directors, I think, from Water and Sewage just resigned a few days ago. Okay? It just, it just gives you to think. So anyway, a young MP, how does he know that? Just coming in as a sitting MP, young MP, Now mind you, I say he's innocent or guilty. Like I say, he could be innocent and guilty. It's something that Mr. Gibson learned. Okay? It is something that Mr. Gibson personally learned as a junior minister. What he was doing, he met in place, was taught that. Okay? Who he was taught it from? We in this country, we really don't understand politics. And as a young man, I'm getting to understand it very well. And here's how things run. Okay. When there's election, right? And when all the votes are gathered up for all political parties, the DNA, the FNM, the Free National Movement, and the Governor General, declares blah, blah, blah. And then the Providence Marshal, which is the Commissioner of Police, at the advice of the Governor General, takes control of the country and tell, it is when all the votes are gathered up and it's announced who is the next Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Who runs the government right then and there? Civil servants. Permanent secretaries run the government along with the Governor General. Then you have permanent secretary who are hired by the incoming government. But you have some permanent secretary who don't serve no party. They're just doing their job. They serve both the PLP and the FNM, but they are government officials. That's like Melanie McGinney, at Robertson Park. She is a nice lady. She has been there for over 40 years. And PLP government comes in, FNM government comes in. But her position remains the same. She's neutral. So she's just like a permanent secretary who doesn't serve or is not a part of the PLP or the FNM. She's just a person who everyone understands. She's just a Bahamian. And whoever comes in, she serves the best way possible. And that's what she is. And then you have these permanent secretary who have been there for 40, 50 years. Understand? And they teach the prime ministers. Okay, they teach the deputy prime ministers. They teach the ministers on how to govern. You see? You understanding? So you have people like the permanent secretary and government officials who are working, and you call them civil servants, and they work for the Governor General. Okay? And they're the ones who really, I can't give a name of individuals or who is permanent secretary of who are 40, 50 years, But they're permanent. And ain't nothing much you could do with them. They watch prime ministers come and go. They watch ministers come and go. They watch Minister of Education come and go. They watch Jeff Lloyd come. They'd watch the Honorable Donnie, the former Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture. They watch Donnie Johnson go as well. But the permanent secretary stays in place, and these are the ones who teach people like Adrian Gibson on how government runs. Now, he might have gone overboard by doing his own thing. You understand? But it comes down to the fact that he was taught this system. Okay? And any sitting member of parliament who comes in are going to be taught this system. Okay? Unless they have integrity, unless they have kindness, even though they are loyal to their party, but they still have kindness to understand that they have a great responsibility to use the power and help as much people as possible as they can. I just want to comment on that on Adrian Gibson. So he has learned that, So he could be innocent and he could be guilty. He gone into the system that teach him on how to be corrupt. And we teach that in our government system. We're going to take this call. Red caller, you're on inside in the city.
Hey, Scrooge.
Hey, good night.
Everything good?
Everything good.
I like how you came out right now because I was on Steve McKinney show a couple of weeks ago. They was talking about Shane Gibson them and saying most people, like less people is on the show who they saying all like Shane Gibson them as innocent people. But like you say, technicality. You can turn on the radio just a little bit to get a little bit of static. But keep on talking. Technicality.
Right.
So when you see some people be charged and be dragged before the court, they did because of technicality.
Mm-hmm.
They get off.
Yes, sir. That don't mean stay innocent.
That don't mean they're innocent.
Nope.
So I like how you care right now. Right now you mashing up some corn right now.
Yeah.
And most people who understand how the system runs, they feel like, okay, this person been dragged before the court and charged and they let him go and stay innocent. They didn't did it. Now don't go like that.
No, it don't go like that.
Technicality, you get away from the court, but you don't get away from God.
That's right. That's
I listen to the show, man. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much for explaining that to the general public. And I can tell you these things, because I understand the system. I keep analyzing the system. So I want each and every one of you to understand that. Yes, Adrian Gibson, he could be guilty, but he's also innocent because he was taught that by the system put in place. And that's the system we have in place today. Okay? And remember this. Most of us who are PLP and FNM, right, who say they're loyal and they'd always be a PLP and FNM, I'm not taking it away from nobody. But I just want you to understand something. The money that Adrian Gibson gave to his family, allegedly gave to his family, contracts he gave to individuals, and etc., you know who pays that? The poor people in this country. Let me show you how governments run. Nothing changed. Okay? You ever want to Caesar, what is doing to Caesar? Taxes. What are taxes? Taxes are electric bill, water bill. When you go to the food store and you go in the food store and you're paying your VAT, all of that. Okay? Gas bill, even though you're spending your money at the gas station. Let me show you this thing, wait. The people who design these things have everything in place. You know what I was understanding the other day? I say, you know what? Let me go to Kentucky. So I just put $30 in my truck. So I put $30 in the truck. So now I go in the Kentucky line. I end up lying to get this AC on. And you know what they say? The service is not slow, but if the line is long by Kentucky, like right across from where I am now, and you look at the line, you can see the line from here most to the hill. Okay? If you go there and you put like $20, $30 in your car and you're on that line, you're going to bring about $10 worth of gas just waiting to buy a $28 bucket or $15 something bucket. But if you watch how much money you spend right there waiting in line with the $10 worth of gas and then the little $28, for the thing all that right there is the taxpayers' money. You understand what I'm saying to you? So all that is gathered up. That's the taxpayers' money. And you pay it. So basically every contract that you see given out, right, from MPs to individuals, party supporters, family, friends, that's your taxpayers' money. And you wonder why things so tough and things so expensive? Because we're sucking from the poor, right? Using the party, right? Using the party. And then use your position saying one party is better than another. And when you get to this, you use that position to get your people in place. And you're helping behemoths, but you're helping such a vast majority. But what you're doing is that when you go and you give these people this contract, this money got to be put back in the treasury. And what we does is we put the pressure by rising the electric bill, rising the food prices in the country, rising the gas prices in the country to subsidize so that we could be able to keep the pensioners going. you know. So when we hire these commissioner police, you know, we move Fernanda, then we move the next one 2 years, and we're going to soon move Clayton Fernanda, then we're going to put the next commissioner in place. All of us your money, because when he goes, we're going to have to pay all of it. Let me give you a prime example. Clayton Fernanda is the commissioner of police right now. You remember when he got put on administration leave by the Minister of National Security, and then he filed, you know, his lawsuit against the government. Now, he didn't be in the work grade in 2 years. And then recently, you know, government change. He was promoted to commissioner of police. But he also won his case. So he was getting paid for that. His leave. Now he's getting paid for commission. So he's collecting like 3 paychecks. You know, we're paying for all that. Me and you. See, we don't look at it like this. And that's why the poor is getting poor. You understand? So every time we put someone in position, because, you know, it's party politics, and we remove a person, and then we put a next commissioner of police, you know, and then we put a next commissioner of police. Not saying it is what it is, but we have to make it understandable that what we're doing is right. You know, because some of these commissioners can stay for a long period of time, because change the commissioners, I see no decrease in crime. Huh? We done changed about how much commissioners? And you see, have they made a dent in crime? Because you can't make a dent in crime unless you're making a dent in poverty. And the way to measure if you're making a dent in crime, you have to look at your prison population. You know? That's how I dictate it. Me. I do my own analyzing. I look at it, the prison population is the same. Where we have, how much they say prisoners up there now? Last time I checked, they said there was about 1,500 prisoners. It's down from 17 or 1,800. Okay? And they say it's down to about 1,400. But even with the 1,400, in a 21/7, with 250,000 or 500,000 people, you know, we're in a conflict zone. So even though Jamaica's bigger than us, Trinidad and Tobago, and they get millions of people, and we only get this much of people, we are a more dangerous place than Jamaica. You understand? Because per 100,000 people, you know, in a 21/7, we have 100 plus murders. You know, that's more than Jamaica. That's more than the United States. That's more than a lot of countries in the world, even though we're here in the country. So hiring and resigning commissioner of police who only bring a little balance. But if you look at what they're going to collect for their pension for the rest of their lives, me and you is going to pay that for the rest of our lives, our children. We don't understand how this country run. So all y'all who pull up these PLB and FNM, understand that your children, hey, you are causing poverty in the country. That's who's causing poverty in the country. Here's the reason I'm saying that. Adrian Gibson, you listen to millions. But if a true, sincere minister who concerned about this country and has the opportunity to impact the lives of so many, he can help so many people with those contracts. Because if he's able to trickle it down, you know, some of these contracts that he had was running when they had to get Parliament approval, and they're saying anything over $100,000 is Parliament approval. But some of these contracts are going like $250,000 without Parliament approval. This had to go on before the board, and his board, what he put in place. So he had to go before the Parliament. So all kind of things is breached. So I guess when you get in government, you know, you meet a system in place, you could change the system as long as you're the minister because you're in charge. So that's what both political party does. You know? Y'all understand where you're coming from? That's how serious it is, people. And that's what we're dealing with in this country. You know, Adrian Gibson was taught that by permanent secretaries and people who he meet there. And when this government, Brave get in there, who do you think is beginning Brave advice? Brave just reached there. Huh? Brave. The Honorable Brave Davis. Let me just explain something to each and every one of you here. The Honorable Brave Davis is the member, is the minister of all ministers. Okay? He's the Minister of Education. He's even the minister over the opposition. He's the number one minister. All ministries run under the Prime Minister. Every ministry runs under them, but he just lets certain people run the ministry because that's a part of the system. But he is the number one boss. He could hire and fire. And prime example is what he told guy at Water and Sewage who just recently resigned based on the corruption that is being exposed, not by one government, by two governments, because all of them does the same thing. And he told him, he should resign based on what he's saying, and then the guy resigned. But even though he resigned, he's going to get a pension. And he's gonna make more money resigning, because he might have put in 25, 30 years. He's a civil servant. So he ain't watching nothing. And then if he could sit this out, he could be getting his paycheck. And then if his government come back in power, he back on board again. That's how it go. So yes, they learn these things, So we up in arms and we all over Agent Gibson. No, man, we got to be up in arms over all kind of ministers. And we just listen to what they said in Lakeisha Roll. She is before the court too, for investigation, for building a house. They had circulation of the former minister, the youngest minister, Travis Robertson. They were saying like, hey, he built a house and he's a multi-millionaire now. You can't blame Travis. Travis ain't had nothing. He going to learn the system. They say Travis is one skinny guy. Now Travis dead fat. Huh? He going down. And who teach him them stuff? The system people. It's there. Civil servant. Controlled by the Governor General. There's two governments, People who understand, the political government, political party government, and then you get the civil servants. Y'all better understand what's really going on. And me and you, who are taxpayers, who are citizens, we have to understand and speak out about certain things that happens in our country. Okay. Now I'm going to Peter Knight God. Now we had Peter Knight God here, living in the countries from the 70s. He was here with both PLP and F and them. He looked like he was more in tune with the Progressive Liberal Party. I heard some year back in the press where him and then the Honorable former Prime Minister, the Honorable Perry Gladstone Christie, him and Mr. Knight God was going at it concerning the stem cell introduction to the Bahamas. So Mr. Christie came on TV, and said he's the one who brought the stem cell program here to the country. Knight God said, no, I'm the one who's responsible for blah, 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 blah. You understand? And he being here, and there were numerous circulation around the country for many years of his extravagant orgy events that he was happening at Knight God Key. Where it was reported that females were going there getting drugged. There was also reports that many of these females filed charges, complaints that were never investigated by the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Some of the same senior cops that we're seeing today in the country are the ones who associated with Mr. Knight God as his personal protection videos. They were there to some of these events, and some of them were his personal friends. And that's why many of these complaints that these ladies filed were never, ever, ever presented for Mr. Peter Knight God to be processed or questioned or investigated by the Criminal Investigation Department of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Now, if this is any regular citizens who are living in the country, well, you know what will happen to us. I don't even have to go through the 9 yards of what's going to happen to us. Even when Mr. Nygaard was summoned by the Supreme Court to make a court appearance, I watched on the news where, I never seen no inspector stand in no inner city home, for about 2-3 hours, waiting to give a court order, a warrant from the Supreme Court. I've never seen that, not in my life. But I sure look on TV and I saw about 3 inspectors along with 6 other police officers standing in front of Mr. Nygaard Key and read their subpoena. And I saw his employee was there talking to the officers and letting the officers know that Mr. Nygaard is not here and he can't accept it. And he said that Mr. Nygaard would be here within 20 or 30 minutes. And the officer said, okay, then we'd wait. They couldn't enter Nygaard Key to carry this subpoena. I say Supreme Court subpoena. Okay, inspectors with the highest order. And they had to wait. And that 20 minutes gone from 20 minutes to hour to 2 hours to 3 hours. Because the news said it, but they surely wait. But I've never seen that in all my life in any city community where inspector. Boy, look, when I got pull up inspector now, your yard could be fencing. Yeah, yuck that fence down. If they get a search warrant, shoot your dog. At a view in the way, you'll get beat dead by it. That ain't happening in Mr. Nygaard Key. Because he had friends in high places. He had politicians in his pocket. But they're denying it. Now they're trying fingers at one another. But I do remember Hugh Whittingham telling us, remember cabinet ministers to not involve yourself with Peter Nygaard. Okay? And now we have where many people are saying that if Peter Nygaard was extradited to Canada, his hometown, because he's a Canadian, and he is a billionaire, and this investigation goes back 20 years. But there's no statute of limitation in these countries, especially when you violate females, and if they file a complaint and they did his trial, he was found guilty, and I don't know what his sentence is going to be. It looks like he's going to be in prison a very long time. But the question needs to be asked is that someone said something to the commissioner, and the commissioner said, Mr. Nygaard is where he's supposed to be. In other words, people question the integrity of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, saying that, complaints were made here against Bahamian females. And, we see, this the invisible stuff I be telling you all people, that has come to light. You understand? This is the invisible stuff. So now everyone is seeing it now. He ain't so invisible no more. So people now are saying that how could he get extradited to Canada in his hometown? And they bring him guilty. But he was here in the Bahamas, and many questionable complaints were made against this man. But yet still, they said they was going to investigate and file some missing. Now the commissioner responds, and he said that Nygaard is where he's supposed to be. Now the commissioner is saying, let me see what he's saying now. He says now we will search for files in Nygaard probe. Now he want to search for the files. What sense is searching for the files for? Because we ain't never going to have access to Mr. Nygaard ever again in the country. When we had him here, we could make ourselves look so good, investigate those girl claim, find if they're true, because some cases they say that he was drugging them, if they refuse, because you had to wear a certain attire, and if you ain't working with him, he would drug you up. I was hearing all this from the Junkanoo guys and females and stuff like that. They were getting a little $50, $150, $200. He like to live extravagant, live wild. It's a wild man. And we could make ourselves look like You know, the Bahamas is a place of integrity. You know, look what he do. Let the man leave the country. You know, he ran from the country because he had a case, Supreme Court case. And then he ended up getting catch, you know, based on international warrant. So, yes, you know, that's why people are questioning. And that's why the commission is saying now that he want to search for the files. There's no use searching for the files. So, Nygaard is going to serve his time in Canada. And those girls over here are never going to get justice, you know, and that's the bottom line. You get money and you get power when you come to the Bahamas, you know, some politicians on both sides, you could get away with murder. Look at Varsity, the lady who, you know, accused of killing her husband, you know. She went to court, was brought guilty. She complained about the prison, they cleaned up the prison. You know, she won a case on technicality. Do you believe she was innocent? No, but she won a case on technicality. She was guilty as hell. You say, saying, so even though you could be a murderer or technicality, she won a case of technicality, people. You understand? So who killed her husband? How come we ain't find no one who killed her husband? He get killed in the Bahamas, but there's no further investigation on who killed her husband because she was responsible. But technicality, and she is a very rich person. She had a lawyer. She finds some fault in the prison, talking about, you know, she can't live in the prison and all these technicalities. So you could be guilty as hell, but if you get the right money and the right connections, you could walk. In some cases. Okay, we're going to take this call. Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside in the City.
Good night, Scrooge.
Good night to you.
All is good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Hey, Scrooge, how long will be Belgium in there now, man?
I think right about
2 months.
2 months now, yes, sir.
I see they name a building after we Belgium too. Report, right?
Yes, sir.
And naming all kind of things and credence of OB, right? But you know what perplexes my mind the most, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's such a high official go down, and all we do is just bury him, and all kind of good things talk about him, and all kind of building, and all kind of things name, and the election would got to win, got to name, win the honor, and all kind of things, right? But what is ironic to me is that the mere fact that since a whole good man died, right?
Yeah.
What's the cost of death, man? I all that perplexes my mind big time. What did he die from? Where did he die from?
Boy, you...
Why the party don't say something, man? That's what I mean. Normally when people die, people have some idea, but you know, he died from cancer or he had a heart attack.
Yeah.
I mean, an official of his health, they supposed to come a long time and say, well, he had an aneurysm or something.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that ain't, I mean, how could there be close? I mean, like, even people, they ain't any family or whatever, but you know, he's a public figure, right?
Mm-hmm.
You ain't the public deserve to know what that man dead from. He done dead.
Yes, sir.
Right? You disagree?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. You know, they always give the autopsy report and it was made public. You died of a heart attack or you died of cancer.
Yeah, man,
or you die with a ting. Or you die with a ting. You know, we call it ting.
Whatever, man, when you're dead, you're dead.
Yeah.
You're dead from whatever you're dead.
But you're dead, you're dead. It don't matter what you're dead from something. That's right.
See? So why is it be gone, though?
Boy.
What he dead from?
Good question. You probably have to ask the leader of the party that or someone associated with the party that was because they keep it a secret.
Is that bad? You got to ask the leader to find out?
Well, we couldn't get it from the nose.
That kind of secrecy route?
Yeah, we couldn't get it from the nose or no media outlet, so I guess.
That don't make no sense, man.
No, just the...
I mean, all kind of ads, all kind of photos, all kind of that. But I mean, in the real world, like we in America or some other place, or in England or someplace,
yes, sir.
People say, but he died X amount of time and caused a death, man. What's going on? Why they can't say what he do a dead from?
Yes, sir.
But then based on all kind of taxpayers dollars, doing all kind of foolishness, spending the thing, talking about it on and credence and naming, building and all kind of things. We want to know what that man dead from, man.
Wow.
So seriously, buddy.
At least you put it out there. And I never think about it that way. You know, I really thought that. I mean, based on what you're saying, I really thought they were to say, you know,
earlier. That's the man. They supposed to say, well, you know, he had a stroke.
Yeah,
he had aneurysm. He had high blood pressure. He had whatever. You done dead.
Yeah, because
when you had AIDS, whatever you had.
Yeah, you're still dead. You're still dead. Huh? Yes, you're still dead.
So seriously, you know.
Yeah, because when the late great what's his name now? Oh, shoots, man. Oh man, the late great Bradley Roberts, they came and said that he had a heart attack and, he fall down, buck his head inside the bathtub.
And Bernard Norris, when he died, what they say he died from?
They said he had what? A heart attack too, eh?
So why they can't say what OB died? Because I mean, the sudden death.
Why you would know what he actually died from, man?
Because I mean, it ain't making no sense, man. They have a whole election right now. We got to win this election for OB. What the man dead from?
Okay.
So the public them could feel some kind of some kind of a humanness to it, man.
Okay.
It can't be because we're one big gang. We're the PLP. We ain't gonna let you all know.
Yeah.
But it comes to the public every election to get the public advice, or not even so, to vote for them.
Yeah.
And they got the decency to say, well, the soldier, he had a bullet to his kidney. This one died from a bullet to his heart. Something.
Yes,
No?
sir. Make good sense.
I mean, man, they look at us like nothing. They keep that in their little inner circle and thing. And I bet he had about 4 different funerals. He in the lodge too, right?
Yeah, he was he's the last
He's
degree.
a
33. Because I see him prior to this, he was a 33.
Yeah. So, I mean, he had 3 funerals then. One in Freeport, one in Nassau, one in the lodge.
Yeah, because he's 33 degree, I think, when I listened to him on Facebook.
But why we can't find out which one of them trees he died from?
I think someone got answer that.
Yeah, man, there's something need to say, man. Because, I mean, the whole general public and no one know. Give me a break.
Yes,
Come as a public figure. The government's supposed to done for that. The people a long time say, well, he had a heart attack or whatever, kidney failure, whatever, man. That's only decent, right? But they want to win election. So he was a robot, eh? And he short circuit,
I get
and they
it,
want to
boss.
win because he was a good robot, eh? They may get a life bite. If Bobby is human, we humans need to know where that man died from so we can sympathize and give the PLP a vote. But they're decent enough to even tell us where he died from, right?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man, bless it.
Blessed to you too, man. And good night. Yeah. That's a question someone asked. Probably we'd see some next week. Someone would probably from the party would give, an update on what exactly the minister passed away with. And he's talking about, in honor of O.B. Welshcombe, seems to be a very decent man in life because a lot of people loved him in Freeport. I guess he made a great impact in Freeport, over the years. Elegant speaker, but I don't know if that's going to get you in heaven, I'm not saying he's going to hell or nothing, but he seems to be a very decent man when he was living. He contributed greatly to the lives of many people in Freeport based on the response on TV and media when many questions was asked about his death. And it was humbling to see how many people spoke elegantly about how he helped them. So I think that, when them naming a building after him, he deserves it. I hope that he had enough time to, I ain't saying he's a wicked person or whatever person it is, I just hope he had time to make a greater connection with the Father, That's my 2 cents on it. And like I said, it's no use that the commissioner say he's going to search for the files. And this is the kind of invisible stuff or conspiracy that I like to expose because I know exactly what's going on, Peter Nygaard was supposed to be in jail in Nassau, New Providence for many years for the many assault, probably even rape, drug rape in the country. But he had political figures in his pockets. He had police officers in his pockets. No one can deny that. No one can deny that because based on how he was able to be extradited to Canada and was found guilty. And we heard many complaints over the years about the same individual for many years in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And many females speaking on social media and on ZNS News talking about, their incidents. But not a finger was lifted by our Royal Bahamas Police Force because he had some of the divisional officers who were in charge of certain division in his payroll, and because, he was their friend, they decided to turn their head and not pursue And that's why he got away with a lot of criminal activities in this country. And he took advantage of so many poor Bahamian girls, and many of their lives can be ruined. You understand? Because you don't know what he did to them, because these people are crazy, man. You understand? They do orgies, they take a lot of drugs. You know, they go from the back. You know, they want you to do this. You know, they want you to go with that one. Some of these people want to bring animals in the midst for you to have sex with, man. Hey, listen. And that's why, you know, we look at what's happening in the world when we allow slackness and waggerness, you know. That can bring down the country. You know, we have people like that who come here to the Bahamas to do those kind of stuff, and our political leaders and our law enforcement who meet them because they're billionaires and they're millionaires. They want to meet them. You know, they buy them breakfast. They get them car. They get them money to buy cars, and they get them incentives, and they would sell you out for $1, even though they're coming here to do harm to their brothers and sisters. And that's our system in the country. And I'm glad that Guardian Radio has me on, you know, to speak about these things. And one thing you can say about me, I'm an honest person. I only want what's best for this country. Many people don't like me because I might be outspoken, but they love me because they know that if they could be in the position that I am, to be able to speak the way I am, not afraid to speak of what's going on wrong in the country and speak on it, they would do the same. The thing is, it ain't for everyone. I was chosen. I believe the Father brought me up the way I was brought up rough in the streets. I was disciplined in my grandmother's home. But on the streets, I was rough because I had to be rough. I didn't have no mother, no father out there. And it was just me. And I learned to be the roughest and toughest on the streets. I was smart. Then I pray to God, ask him, give me knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And the last thing I ask him for is bravery, to don't be afraid of no man. That's why I ain't afraid of no police. I ain't afraid of no pastor. I ain't afraid of no politician. I ain't afraid of the baddest guy who think he bad. I ain't afraid. I ain't afraid to talk the truth and stand up for what's right in the country. But I also apply it by having many different programs that I'm doing in the country. And the last police, you know what I asked him for? I asked him for things: knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. They asked him for bravery, to fear no man. You understand? To speak up. If I see something wrong going on in front of me, if I walk in the streets and I see someone disrespecting their father or disrespecting their mother, and I know that that's their son or that's their daughter, it can't happen where it is. It can't happen where it is. There could be a problem. That son and daughter, they got to deal with me. Anyone know me, living in that community, they know what they stand for. Okay? I don't have that. I stand for principle. And I'm glad the Father grew me up. I grew up like that in the community so I could be able to come with you and not be afraid. But also I'm not biased. I'm not racist. I'm one of the most kindest person you could ever meet. But I said no nonsense person comes when it comes to not doing the right thing or making the right choices. You understand? Yeah, so where I'm now, okay. So yeah, it's no use for the commissioner now. The commissioner believes you all bundled to be him in public. And everything is being exposed now. Everything. Because this is what it is. This is exposure. It shows you that we didn't have the audacity to go after a man. You know, it just like, let me give you a prime example. Remember the FTX guy? Remember I said on the show that if we were smart, we wouldn't extradite him. Sam Bankman. I said we were supposed to arrest him based on our financial sector. And we were supposed to hold him in custody. And we were supposed to be the one putting him before the court. If Canada could do it to Peter Nightguard, why couldn't we do it to Fred Bankman? Now we can't even get $1. You understand? What we were afraid of? Now he's found guilty in New York. 2 of these cases could have been held right in the country, in our jurisdiction. And we could have brought both of them guilty in our courts. And what message would we send to the world? But no, we want extradite. But But the young guys on the streets, you don't give them 60 and 100, 70 years, and judges in the court all over our Bahamian brothers and sisters. But Varsity, Lady Varsity, she was guilty. She killed her husband. But she complained about the prison. And she's a free woman, and she lived in the Bahamas. Like I said, where's her? So if she didn't kill her husband, and she get bring not guilty, a murder still occur in the country. Where's the investigation to find who killed the woman's husband? Huh? But like I say, the police knew, the prosecution knew, okay, that she was guilty. But the system don't work like that. You could be guilty as hell, but you can win your case of technicality. Okay, let me give you a good prime example. I was watching this movie. This is a real movie. It was a serial killer. He was killing people with his .22 rifle. And these police officers, was by his house. And they saw, like, when he left, and they know he was a suspect, and it was hard to get him. So they decided, let's go in the house and go search. So one of the officers said, man, if we go in there, we don't have a proper search warrant, these things are going to be admissible in court. So he said, we're going to report that, someone reported a burglary, or they see someone suspicious around us, so not giving them probable cause to go in. So anyway, these guys, officers going in the house. They going up in the ceiling. They search the house. Now, they find the murder weapon that was used on about 15, 16 girls who this particular person killed, and he shot them with the rifle. And this is the same gun, right? They find this gun. Now, a couple hours later, the guy came back home, and, he walked on this old porch. He said, what the problem is here? The officers say, yeah, well, there was a part of the burglary and all that. He said, yeah, so blah, blah, blah. So he asked him, say, what you doing with my, what that is in your hand? So this is the murder weapon now. So they went and they put the gun through ballistics. Everyone jumping, clapping, their hands. Now this guy's locked up, they just take the gun and, hold him in the station. The clapping say, be gay now. You know what the guy say? The guy sit down and laugh and he say, you know what, I'm going to be out here in a few minutes, in an hour or so. My lawyer's coming right now. And he say, you want no proper cause, you came on my property, you don't have no search warrant, all this stuff. And you don't believe this thing. Just like he said, when his lawyer came, his lawyer explained everything, blah, 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 blah. Did y'all get a search warrant? No search warrant. The weapon that they took, that is the murder weapon, that they took the bullets out of each and every one of those girls that match up to the same gun, had to be given back to the gentleman. And he smiled at them and he walked out the station with the murder weapon. But because the officers them didn't get through the proper procedure of not going and get the proper search warrant by the judge so that they could have probable cause for going to the gentleman's house. Okay? And then they got him. But right then and there, he got away. They got him because, he was determined to get a specific girl who he did not catch. And out of all the girls, he just couldn't kill this one. So the father had that girl. He tried everything to get this girl, but he just couldn't kill this one. He could kill all the rest, but he couldn't kill that one. So yes, you're not because you're not guilty means, excuse me, let me put it in the right way. Not because you get bring not guilty means that, you didn't do the crime. It's just a technicality. So always remember that. That same lady Washington who, the white lady who went to prison, what would y'all say? Y'all would say she didn't kill her husband? Huh? Well, who killed her husband? But the courts, no. She got convicted. She appealed the case. She complained about the condition of the prison. And that, that's against human violation. She's going to get all kind of big time laws. When they pick our system apart, She won a case on technicality, so she was guilty as those MPs who were before the court. But technicality. It's 7:41. Okay. All right. What am I supposed to do now? We're gonna take this call. Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside in the City.
Yes, I'd like to speak to Scrooge.
That's me, Rachel.
Hello.
Good night. You're speaking.
Good night. I'd like to speak with Scrooge.
You can speak, sir. Good night. Go ahead, sir.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'd like to make a comment about politics in this country.
Go ahead.
It's an organized criminal empire, just like the mob.
Mm-hmm.
But they are guys, with the stroke of a pen, they change things or ruin people's lives or make people rich. You remember the story with Meyer Lansky, the one who was in charge of the mob? What they did was extradite him to Sicily and then made him a part of the American force to go and get Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
And he was able to come back to the United States. And it's all done with the stroke of a pen.
Yep.
And they're all criminals. When you see this government change, sit back and wait for something to come up. Something else is going to come up under the PLB that they're going to have to go to court for.
Wow.
I mark my word on this one.
Yes, sir.
Scrooge.
Listen.
This is your buddy who has called you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know the voice.
So mark my word. There's going to be some crime committed that we take them to court, and we got to end up paying them for their time in court. We see it happen all the time.
Yes, sir.
That is why I don't get involved in politics. If I want to be a criminal, I can be a criminal on my own. So I keep all the money I make.
You ain't getting no cut, eh?
No, I ain't giving nobody no cut.
You ain't getting no $100,000 cut and talking you're going to give one 40
No,
grand
that
to
don't
the
make no
FBA.
sense. But they don't give us nothing.
And that's your tax. That's your own money anyway, so they ain't doing you no favor.
Our own money, if you go and need an operation in the hospital now, would cost $10,000.
Yes, sir.
The government wouldn't step up and say, that's a citizen, we'll pay for it.
Right.
And mind you paying more tax. I can't. They got me shaking in my boots now because of January. When January comes, they got all kind of taxes they put on me.
And that's because all these...
I have to pay and don't get a dime back.
And that's all these contracts they be giving out to all these individuals for that small amount.
And then they pay them for their time in court when they go to court.
Yes.
And you don't want to see all these high-profile lawyers they got. And everybody already know what the end result is going to be,
You see the big sum.
But they got to make it look good so they can get paid. Everybody gets paid.
You want to see the big lump sum Shane Gibson get?
Yeah, so that is why I don't get involved with politicians.
Yes, sir.
I'd rather be a criminal on my own.
Makes sense.
My mother always say, don't be a follower.
Be a leader.
Be a leader. So
Yes,
I'm going to do my own thing, and whatever I make is mine.
Yes, sir.
So that's how, that's the way of the world.
Yep.
That's the way of the world. We just got to live in it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good night. I'm listening to you again.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, tell Shaggy I say hello.
Okay, I will. Yes, sir. I just beat Shaggy up on the park. Ain't been no game Sunday going, so I went 4 games. My team, we went 4 games. Shaggy ain't win none, so he hot. He come and see get us this week. I want to give a comment was sent on the app. It says, Nygaard got 10 years, but he has charges to answer in the U.S. The Canadians say that the U.S. can have him when they are finished with him. Wow. So you see that? Now you're going to face charges in the U.S. because now Canada make the U.S. look bad. You see? Canada make the Bahamas look bad. Now Canada making the U.S. look bad. So the U.S. ain't going to look so bad. So now they know they allowed this man in their country and he mess up all kind of citizens. So now to cover their tracks to say, you know what? We can't allow this guy now to get away, and he came in our country and we allowed him to do some nasty stuff to our citizens, so let's make it look good. Now we want him when Canada's finished with him, but he got 10 years. This person saying he got 10 years. But he has charges to answer in the U.S., so he's also facing charges in the U.S. So if police commissioner or the Bahamas government looking for files, you're not going to get Nygaard because you guys, them y'all have the weakest jurisdiction because the Bahamas is supposed to be one of the strongest jurisdiction, but it seems like we like to extradite. We don't like the prosecute high officials in the country because Sam Bankman is one, Peter Nygaard is one. You know, the only one we went with is the little local Washidi, the lady Washidi, I think her name is, if I'm pronouncing it right. You know, and that was because of a murder charge, so it's different. But when it comes to corruption, we don't want to prosecute. We rather let them go to the Canada and the U.S. You know, like how we send our own 90, who, by law, the Bahamas government break the Constitution and violate Samuel 90 Knowles' rights and constitutional rights because we extradited him when he had criminal matters before the Supreme Court. You understand? And we violated that. And to tell you the truth, Mr. Samuel 90 Knowles was never supposed to be extradited in the first place. You understand? He was supposed to spend his time here in the Bahamas where he lived as a citizen, you know? Because Peter Nygaard is going to spend his time in Canada. Yes. So, okay. And then last but least, I have a few more minutes. I have 7:47, so let me begin my last segment of the show. The second segment of the show, I want to talk about police commissioner says murders down by 16%. Now, I want to examine this and explain this to the general public because I have an extensive history about when you see murders down. I call it a grace period. Okay, a grace period is when. Listen to me closely. I've been seeing this over the years. I was a part of it, and I understand it because, you know, I was a part of it. A grace period, when you see murders are done, happens when guys who commit serious murders and serious guys in the community who have a crew of guys working together. You know, these are menace to society, and sometimes these guys make up high percentage of the murders and armed robberies happening in the country. It could be one or two cliques where you have a guy, you know, you have like 15, 20 guys. And in that 15 to 20 group, you have at least 10, 12, 13 murderers who is under his wing. And sometimes, you know, the police does their job and clears up the hot spot and goes after the leader and send him to prison. Then sometimes the street, in retaliation for some of the murders and violent crimes they involved with, fights back, and they go after this guy and they end up killing this guy. So when that happens, you know, because this guy was a monster. So when he get killed, you know, guys might retaliate. But in doing so, sometimes it splits up the crew, and some guys go in hiding, some through police pursuit. The police are on their case, know where they hang up, know where they live, so the police put large amounts of pressure on them. And in doing so, the police sometimes get involved with shootout. And in doing so, guys are apprehended or they're killed. Now, what happens is the police on your case, either you get killed, and then guys on the streets, you know, the police move you from your sweet spot. So now you're scattered. So that's where the grace period comes in. When we cancel on one another, when guys go at one another, they're shooting up one another and killing one another, and that life is lost, that person who you see life is lost, if he didn't go, he'd be responsible for 50 and 20 murders and across the country. You understand? Sometimes one person is be connected to like so many different violent scenes, you know, because they're spread out. So the grace period right now is what has happened is where everyone get canceled. Either the guys got killed, either in prison, or the police are on the case, they're spending time in jail. You know, that's why you see anyone who charged with serious offense and murder comes on the streets. You know, immediately when they're released from prison, they're killed on the streets. You know, they're killed on the streets because the guys know that they are very serious. And if this guy stays on the street, he's going to get me. So people are getting you before you get them. So eventually, out of 100 murders, some serious criminals are killed, or some serious criminals are displaced because their hotspots, they cannot function no more. They can't sell drugs there because the police are on their case. So they can't be on their hotspot no more. And when the police drives them, they go and they end up on the next block. But when they go on this block, they end up getting killed. And by them getting killed, it brings a sign of relief. Not saying I want anyone to get killed, but it brings a sign of relief because once they get killed, a lot of their activities are dispersed. Their friends hide because, he was the leader. And in there, we call it a grace period. Okay? So it's a grace period, and that's why we have like 16%. They say murders down by 16% because either the person is being killed, they're in prison, or they're on the run. And they're in fear for their lives. So this is a grace period, And we always going to have this. You see? That's like Samuel Mushi McKenzie, he got killed. And then in Turing, we see where Stephen Dye Stubbs, serving 35 years in prison. Okay? And then we see where Big Boss Ian Harry got killed about 2-3 years ago. And then you'll see a little staggering, a little slow down a little bit. But then you see it expand again. That's the grace period because leaders have gone. But it would always continue because these guys have left an impact. Samuel Muji McKenzie have left an impact on the community. That's my good friend. I've left an impact on the community when I was into that world, but now I left an imprint of doing good in the community. But guys like Samuel Muji McKenzie, the kind of circle they had around them, and they teach all these guys badness. So them guys, them learn from these guys, and they teach other young guys them badness. Teach them how to don't be afraid. Teach them how to shoot gun. Teach them how to sell drugs, because we all learned that because we just had to, it was nothing happening in the community, So we had to grow up rough and tough and grow up loving and fending for one another, And we teach other guys how to tote gun, shoot gun, and make them rough and tough, and all that stuff, you see? So even though Samuel Muji McKenzie has passed away, look at our community. Look how many other guys who came up under him were top murderers as well. Now, they got killed themselves eventually. Some are on the run. Some in prison. Some trying to get out of it by staying low because they know the streets ain't playing. So this is the grace period. You understand? So that's why murders are down 60% because most of the guys have gotten killed. Most of the guys you see committing serious offenses in the country have gotten killed or in prison or cannot be on their own streets because the police are hot. You understand? Wherever they go, the police coming. So they can't sell no drugs. Every time they sell drugs, the police pulling up, so they have to move, go to the next corner. And then you look, someone who they do something to, pull up on them, try to kill them. And they have to move again. You understand? That's how it is. And that's always going to happen. But in order to be able to keep it to 16%, is that we need sustainable programs. Sustainable programs mean that in the schools that we now have, we have to teach trades. Okay? We have to treat wood carving, painting, artistry, electronics, fixing phone, barbering, and nail technician, anything that is technical that our young boys and females can use with their hands, we're going to have to introduce that to our schools. Okay? Because if you're not academically inclined, you could be technically inclined. And we could create so much different businesses in this country and so many different companies, with the trade that we can teach. We need to bring fisheries into the school. Sewing, the basic, that we need to bring into school. And to sustain that, These communities have to be invested in. And let me tell you why I'm telling you that. In the community that I reside in, the Grandstand community, despite my upbringing, I always had a positive impact from my mates, Lyndon Pinlan. He always told me that I was going to be a leader. And the inspiration that he gave me and changed around my life to being from a gang leader, a drug dealer, to be a community leader. Now I'm not a community leader no more. I'm a community developer. I've gone from community leader to community developer. Means that I was community leader. I speak up for the community. I was just speaking up. But now I find ways to be creative and what the community need in order for the kids, the teenagers, and the old folks need so that we have a productive community. One of the first things we wanted to do is bring development, community centers that is going to be beneficial to the residents, to teach the kids about education, about trade, be able to have them have scholarship, bring people from around the country who are of different walks of life, who are teachers, musicians, artists, Antonio Roberts. And we're on our second phase of our community center, Lenahan, Bahamas. It is at a cost of close to $1 million on donation from the late great Sean Connery, James Bond, and his family, to the Bacardi family, the twins, one of them passed away, they were my good friends. I met them, introducing them to the community, explaining to them why it's so important as we call them Caucasian living in the country. I always wanted them to be a part of the development. My brainstorming said that if I want to make a difference in this community, in this country, I just can't have the people over the hill and in the Bahamas who are black like me, because we tend to not really want to work with one another the way that we're supposed to. But the white community in this country, based on their generosity and their kindness, I said that if I wanted to make a difference in this country, let me see if I could get that white community to be a part of giving back to the inner city community in the Bahamas at large. And I formed a friendship with many people who came into the community, like Ms. Alexander Millis, Mr. Biat, Mr. Brent Simonet, Sheila Pritchett, Sarah Hansen, Coles of Nassau, you understand? And many more people, Timothy, formed a relationship with. And since we have formed a relationship, we had a funding with Lenahan, Bahamas, where we have a budget on a monthly basis that we're able to deal with over 60 to 70 kids, deal with the older people in the community, have teachers from around the country to come in and invest. Some of the kids are going off to scholarship, and we're only getting stronger in the community. We're also building a culinary kitchen on Hay Street to be able to teach those in the community on how to cook very different dishes, Indian, Chinese, whatever you can eat, so that we could have people who could be able to make a living of cooking. So we're making great progress in the inner city community of Grandstand, based on the partnership we're doing with numerous by partnership internationally and locally. I want to give thanks to Lucas Metropolis as being the president of Lenahan, Bahamas, and being a spokesperson for the community and the country to get those from around the world to invest in inner city community so that we can give these kids an early chance. We're bending the tree, before it grow. To give them the best education that you could possibly find, that a community can provide. I want to give a shout out to Sheila Pritchett, Mitzi Burrows, Mr. Ed Dorset, East Street Gospel Chapel Church. I want to give a shout out to Pastor Hugh Roll on the cleanup program that they have going on right now. They're already cleaning up Taylor Street. They're going to Comfort Street, Honeycomb Street, and all the side corners. So I'm telling residents in the community to put your garbage out through the inner city community of Lower Street, Hayes Street, and Taylor Street, we're doing a complete cleanup. Okay, so we're making great progress, Bahamian people. So I just want to encourage each and every one of you that change comes when you understand that you as an individual has the power to be that change. If you believe in the Father, put your trust in Him, you can be that change. And always be truthful to yourself. And always remember, listen, you have a greater purpose, and your greater purpose is, brothers and sisters, is to be able to make an impact on somebody's life and help them know you might be a little more, you might be doing a little better than them. But me and you as a brother and sister and as a leader, our job is to see how much people we can help much as possible. Okay, so that we can have a better and beautiful country. I'm your host, Valentino Brand, host of the talk show Inside the Inner City. Sponsor for the show this week is Drifters. The one of that particular restaurant, the best Bahamian dishes. Hospitality is out of the world. Okay, so please feel free to stop by. And also at Joey's Restaurant and Bar, Fish Fry. And I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. And to the callers, you guys did a wonderful job. And I'll see you next week on Guiding Radio 96.9 FM. Thank you very much.
West in Augusta, where them two roads meet, they call it Wilkinson Street. Manners and respect was like a sign blank check. It seems the ones that coming after quick to disrespect. You see, this life in the ghetto never easy. So many hungry days break till it grieve me. But I doing the best I can, trying to turn my dollar to 100 grand. I represent the ghetto people.